So human bias and how it affects our ability to uh, optimize our profits in business. I just want to show you a real world case study right here. So a lot of people may not know this about me, but I'm also an avid investor in stock market. So I've created my own algorithms, my own systems to trade my own money. And I just want to share a few learnings that I learned from the world of trading and investing. That is a concept of our personal biases against what it means to take profits or prove ourselves wrong and just accept that the investment that we made is in a loss. So this concept of stop loss is a very useful concept in business, and I learned it from trading. So in trading, once you come up with a hypothesis, you cannot be sure that this hypothesis is correct or not. So you always have a plan B, which is called a stop loss. So what it means is, you tell yourself that if this stock price or whatever stock or in futures contract or whatever you are investing in, if it hits a certain price point, whether it's on the negative side or the positive side, you are going to exit that trade, right? So you already make that determination before you enter that trade, not after. But the point is that our brains don't work in a linear fashion like that. We think that we are rational, but we are utterly irrational. So a good example of that is, for me, in my system, for example, I always have a rule that if the price hits 20% loss, meaning whatever price I bought a stock at, if it hits a 20% loss, I'm going to exit. And if it hits a 50% profit, I'm also going to exit. But in reality, what happens is, and again, don't think this happens with everyone, but I know this happens with me. And so I'll explain the point of this video. I'll tie it all back in. So the idea is that here is a stock which had a tremendous amount of loss. So almost 47% loss, right? And, a rational mind will exit the stock right here when the stop loss hit. But our irrational minds think, oh, you know what, let's just wait a couple of days, maybe it'll come back. And I get lazy, I get hopeful, and I work against my own system, which I have tested and I know it works, right? So this is the personal bias that comes in. So I did not exit that trade, but here is another trade which just hit 61% profit today. And, I am eager to take profits on this because, this is something that will give me a positive result or a dopamine hit or whatever you want to call it. The personal buy, the personal itch is going to be scratched. Whereas if I'm a smart businessman, I will let this run because this has proven that it is going to be profitable, and even it can be even more profitable because it has momentum. I should not exit this trade, whereas I should exit this trade that is in stop loss. Now, that being said, there are cases where these mistakes can be rewarded. For example, this is another stock I invested in, and there was a bad earnings report, and it hit a significant loss the next day. But then again, that my laziness or whatever you want to call it, I didn't exit it, and then eventually it caught up. But that's a very, very bad decision. It could have gone in a negative way, in a much, much worse way. So now to tie it all back, to optimize your operations, to make sure that you are getting the maximum profits out of your business, first thing starts with self-awareness. Understand your weaknesses, understand your strengths, and make sure you build your personalized systems around yourself based on those biases, because you can be your own worst enemy. And so you need to figure that out and make sure that you put protective sort of safeguards against that. So in this case, what I have done is there are a couple of portfolios which are not doing good. So in order for me to protect my capital, I have reduced the capital that I have deployed in the losing portfolios. But the portfolios which are doing really well, I have increased the investment in those portfolios because I know they are doing well, and I've been able to manage them well. So that way, I am covering my own bias and not letting it affect the overall business performance, because I know I'm flawed in many ways, and I just cannot do anything about it. All I can do is put some safeguards around my own sort of personality and make sure the business is protected and we optimize the profits that we gain out of this venture. So that was a couple of thoughts for today. Just let me know if you need any help, any advice, or if you have any questions. Feel free to come join us in our Facebook community. We do a lot of similar videos and trainings where we share some random thoughts and help you get your business on track and optimize your business. So welcome into our community. I'll see you there. Thanks.